Hello and welcome. You're with Budget and India Inc. The countdown has begun and everybody's got a close eye on what that briefcase that Pranab Mukherjee carries will have in store for India Inc. The lists are long as usual, but will he really deliver a budget that's prudent or one that's politically palatable? Let's put that question to our very special panel to introduce. We've got Swaminathan Iyer, who's the consulting editor of the Economic Times. Also with us in Delhi is BVR Subbu. We've got Shefali Guradia here with me in the studio. We've also got Dr. Naresh Trehan joining us from Delhi, as is Ashish Gua of Heidelberg Cement. Thank you all, and thank you very much for being with us on the show today. Swami, I want to start with you. You're just back from a political whirlwind tour. Give us a sense of what you're getting on the ground. A smart budget that will be fruitful for India Inc. in business, or a populist story?
I think that there's going to be an attempt to have a tough budget this time. This is really because of the electoral cycle. If there's a 1914 election, when you only have budget, a vote on account in budget 2014, it means that budget 2013 has to be a populist election budget. That means budget 2012 is the last chance for the finance minister to really do something tough to put his fiscal house in order. Not just a patchwork thing, but something that will last for the next 2-3 years.
BVR Subbu, would you agree with it? It's going to be a tough budget, and this time everybody will have to swallow the pill, no matter how it is and who it is directed at.
I think the realities of the fiscal situation make that quite an imperative for the government. I can't see any kinds of softening that's possible at this stage. Whether it's in terms of the fiscal deficits itself, whether it's the need to raise more resources for ultimately for financing growth, I think the finance minister has few options now.
Ashish Gua, what is your view? Will the FM have no choice but to make use of this opportunity?
Well, I don't think he has a choice. He has to do something, and despite growing fiscal deficit concerns, despite elections coming, he has to do something if he's going to get the country going. And first of all, he needs to take a closer look at the interest rates. You know, investments have just dried up in the last year. There were any major investments that took place because of the high interest rate regimes coming out of very high inflation levels, which has now softened. But we need RBI to take some proactive actions to reduce the interest rates here.
Shefali Guradia, what would you call a tough budget? What would it contain that can actually drive the economy back on a growth path?
It seems to be the right opportunity for the government to do what it takes, because this seems to be the last chance for them. From a tax perspective, of course, you know, we are almost anticipating that the government will try and get in a little more tough and include more disclosures. They want to track the black money. They would try and bring more assets within the Indian wealth tax net.
Right.
And probably not so much on the individual's tax rate or the company's tax rate, but some anti-avoidance provisions, such as, you know, the controlled foreign corporations. That's again something that we do expect would come in.
Do you think this is going to be one of their big measures by which they'll raise more money? Because at the moment, if you look at their options, they were so far banking on divestment, which did not quite even get close to the 40,000 crore target.
So in terms of raising tax revenues, I don't know how much they would really collect through this. Though one, you know, low-hanging fruit is definitely to tax the offshore transfers. And after having seen the Supreme Court ruling in the case of Vodafone, that just seems to be the next thing for them to do, to amend the local law and try and tax the offshore transfers.
Okay, Swami, would you think that that's a possibility that the government would explore? Having got a bit of an egg on the face in the Vodafone deal, could they use this budget as an opportunity to get clearer, tougher on foreign deals?
Yes, I'm sure they would explore that option. Whether they've had enough time to produce a new watertight formula, I don't know. But yes, they do feel that this is the kind of thing that should be taxed. And if they manage to miss out for various technical reasons, let us fix those technical reasons. It may not just be that. I think there are various other issues they will be looking at. There is a feeling that, you know, too much tax has been lost through Mauritius loopholes, through various other tax haven loopholes. Now, to some extent, you have to put India on the same level pegging as the rest of the world. You can't have tougher rules for India than other countries. But within that overall limitation, I think there surely will be an attempt to try and plug all the loopholes possible to maximize revenue.
Okay, Ashish Guha, we're looking at divestment as another way to raise money. Now, we know that we've not managed to keep up with the targets, but do you expect that the buzz that's coming through at the moment from Delhi's corridors is they will increase the divestment target? What are your expectations about widening the ability to raise more money for the government? They really need to do that.
I think a combination of both, divestment for sure, but other than that, expand the tax net, which we've been talking for many, many years now. Like agricultural income is not taxed, and I know 80 to 85% of the population in agriculture comes from very poor farmers, but the 15% that is a remnant, hugely rich farmers, and why are they not taxed? So that is one area. Subsidies is another area that he should concentrate on reducing oil and fertilizer subsidies. These have been, talked about for the last two and a half years. But some elections or the other comes, and then we go in for populist measures and ignoring these things. But if India has to structurally improve and go to a double-digit kind of GDP growth rate year on year, then they have to make these necessary changes. And one government or the other has to come up and say, yes, we did it for the country.
Swami, subsidies, are you expecting a reduction at all?
This is going to be a tough one. There has been this demand that at least the nutrient-based subsidy be extended from phosphatic and potassic to urea as a fertilizer as well. Right now, the position is that every time the international price goes up, automatically the subsidy goes up. Instead of that, if you have a fixed amount of subsidy saying, we'll have a market price, but here is the fixed subsidy, that gives you some kind of control. I do hope we see that there's a chance of that. More important is oil. I mean, I think at the time they formulated the budget, perhaps the price of Brent crude was about $108 a barrel. It's past 122 and rising. If you really get any problem of Israel bombing or otherwise attempting to harm Iran, I mean, you could see the price of oil going to $150 a barrel. So, I mean, we have to get out of the idea that we have complete price controls and any change in the international price automatically is offset by a government subsidy.